Hey guys, it's Jason Taylor from Freedom Marine. We're out on Lake Louisville this morning in a 2017 Malibu M235 that we recently took in trade for an RI Series Centurion boat. Some of the chief issues that the customer had with the Malibu M235 was the ballast fill times, the fuel consumption, how loud the engine is, and the lack of adjustability in the wave. So we'd like to come out here this morning, check out the issues that this customer had with this boat, and compare it to an RI Series Centurion. We're going to run a couple tests and let you guys know what we find out. One of the first issues that the owner had with this 2017 Malibu M235 was how long it took to fill the ballast. So this boat has 4 ballast locations from the factory, and in addition to that, the dealership installed the max ballast, which is 2 550-pound fat sacks that cascade from the rear hard tanks. So we're going to see how long it takes to fill up all 5,000 pounds of this ballast, and we'll go ahead and hit the fill button right now. So in addition to the factory hard ballast tanks, the dealer has also installed max ballast, which are just ballast bags that go on top of the hard tanks from the factory. So even when the screen indicates that we're completely filled with ballast, we're actually not. So we're trying to track the time to see how long it's going to take for that additional ballast to fill. So now that we have all of our ballast filled, we wanted to check out the wave. Our friend Seth is going to ride it for us. So right now, we're in the factory surf left mode. The speed is set at 10.6. We have the wedge set at the number 2 position. As you can see, it's a really tall, steep wave. Seth looks like he's enjoying riding that thing. I know it's kind of loud, but I have Diacom hooked up. It's a diagnostic tool that'll calculate what our gallons per hour are. So it's our fuel rate burn. So at the factory surf left position, we're burning anywhere from 28 to 30 gallons per hour. It's kind of bouncing back and forth. That's with the wedge in position 2 and at 10.6 miles per hour. The previous owner had their own setting that they like to surf, so we'll give that a try and see how it does. So you can see the engine loads up a little bit. We've increased speed and we've increased the wedge position to number 3. That has drastically increased the fuel consumption on this boat. So now we're bouncing anywhere from 32 to 35 gallons per hour. The higher that number is, the more fuel that we're burning. The fuel capacity on this boat is 78 gallons. So at 35 gallons per hour, we're going to run out of gas in about 2 hours of surfing. That is a massive inconvenience to have to keep going back to the fuel pier, which was a primary concern for the previous owner. So now that we've seen what the 2017 Malibu M235 can do, let's check out the Centurion RI Series boat. The boat that we're on right now is a 2019 Centurion RI 237. So it's similar in size to the M235, but there's a couple of differences. The M235 has a supercharged engine. This boat is equipped with a 6-liter high-output PCM engine that makes 450 horsepower and it's naturally aspirated. Another difference between the M235 and the Centurion RI 237 is this boat has 6 ballast locations for a total of 5,100 pounds of ballast available from the factory. No additional ballast is added at the dealer. There's no additional ballast on this boat. It's all factory, 5,100 pounds. Centurion utilizes a technology for their ballast called ram fill. So the bulk of our ballast, approximately 3,000 pounds, is force-induced into 2 hard tanks that are subfloor. It takes about 90 seconds to fill the bulk of our ballast. So our ballast fill time should be substantially less than on the M235. After we fill our ballast, we'll check out the surf wave. We'll have Seth run a couple of sets on it, see what he thinks. We'll check our fuel consumption and how adjustable our wave is as well. So let's check out the ballast system on this Centurion RI 237. As I mentioned, we have 6 ballast locations. 2 of those ballast locations utilize ram fill technology. It takes about 90 seconds to put 3,000 pounds of water on board this boat. So we can fill all of this ballast simultaneously. So I'm gonna use a rider profile to fill everything, set my speed, and we'll time it. I'm gonna hit activate, and then we'll get going. Here we go. So our ram fill can be filled between 8 miles an hour and 15 miles an hour. I have my cruise set at 14.5. So while my ram fill ballast is filling, my plug and play ballast is being filled as well. Each of our ballast bags have one pump per bag. They're reversible. They fill directly. There's no cascading system like there is on the M235. The one pump fills one bag directly. So we're about 40% full on our ram fill. You can hear the engine loading up a little bit as we put all that weight on board our boat. We're at about 50% right now. The ram fill fills extremely quickly. We're at 80%. That's an incredibly fast fill time for almost 3,000 pounds of ballast. What's great about that is we can surf right after we fill this ram fill and still allow our plug and play to fill as we're surfing. And we just reached 100%. So we're at 3,000 pounds of ram fill ballast. Our plug and play ballast is still filling. We're at approximately 40% on our rear bags, 50% on our center tank, which is subfloor, and about 40% on our bow bag. So let's get surfing. Now that we have our ballast set up, let's get to surfing. So as we can see, we have a very tall, very steep wave. We're utilizing the Pro Surf Right preset that comes from the factory on this boat. So we have the speed set at 10.6 miles per hour. We have 100% of all of our ballast, so 5,100 pounds. So this system operates a little differently than the Malibu. Rather than using a reverse hydrofoil with the power wedge and a surf gate that sticks off the side of the boat to form the wave, we actually use the hull. So the Opti-V hull that's on the Centurion boats is what displaces the water and shapes the wave. So we use this through a positive lift system. So there's a series of tabs on the back of the boat. So right now we have the port tab, the non-surf side tab, deployed at 100%. That lifts the port side of the boat and drives the starboard side of the boat down into the water to form our goofy wave. In addition, we have our stinger plate, which is a center trim tab. So in order to get this tall, steep wave, we have the center stinger plate retracted to 0%, so it's fully retracted. Now, we talk about adjustability. We want to change the wave, it's very simple. We can add speed, we can drop our center tab, and that will give us our adjustability, which I'll demonstrate in a moment. But unlike the M235 with the fuel consumption that we were dealing with on the supercharged motor, this 6-liter high output 450 horsepower engine at this setting with a very tall, very steep wave is burning approximately 12 gallons per hour. That is less than half the fuel consumption of the M235 at the same speed with the same setting of the wave. We have a custom setting that we set up for Seth, so we're going to go ahead and try that out. So we're going to knock the wave down a little bit. We've increased the speed to 11.4 miles per hour. Our ballast remains at 5,100 pounds, so 100% of all of our ballast. We've changed our port tab from 100% to 85%, and we've added a little center stinger tab, so it's at about 50%. So that knocks the wave down a little bit, lengthens it out for him, so he's got a lot more wave to work with. It keeps our fuel consumption at about the same, actually. So looking at Diacom, we're burning about 12 gallons per hour. So with a 63-gallon tank, we're burning way less fuel, and we have to go to the fuel pier far less frequently than we do on an M235. It looks like Seth's really enjoying that wave, man. After checking out the Malibu M235 and the Centurion RI Series boat, the data has shown us that the Centurion burns far less fuel, fills ballast in a much faster time, has a more adjustable wave, and has a better ride. If you want to come see for yourself what a Centurion boat can do, please come see me, Jason Taylor, at Freedom Marine in Lewisville, Texas. I'd love to get you out on the water and show you what Centurion has to offer.